what you're gonna do is you're gonna grab onto the bar, set yourself under the bar, so your eyes are actually going to start under the bar rather than in front or behind it. So from there, what we're gonna do is we're gonna set our feet underneath our knees or a little bit further back, and then push into the ground, which puts our weight into our upper back, and it creates tension through the hip or the butt, which helps anchor us and gives us some stiffness through the whole body. And stiffness is stability. So we're looking for a nice strong position. Then you're gonna grab the bar tight. We're going to pull the bar out over the chest, pull the bar down, meet it with the chest, and then push the bar away towards the ceiling. Every time that you bring the bar down, you're thinking about trying to meet it as soon as you can with the chest pushing through the floor to create more and more stability, and then driving the bar away. So a few things that I see go wrong with the bench. What happens is, typically, when we're bringing the bar down, we want to make sure that the elbow is always in line with the wrist. So we want to make sure that those stay stacked rather than flaring outside of the wrist or having the wrist outside of the elbow. So that's piece number one. We want to think about it like throwing a punch. So if I was to throw a punch, I want to make sure that my wrist is behind or in front, of the elbow. So the same thing happens when you're grabbing onto the bar. So you have to choose a hand width on the bar that allows that. So for me, that's typically going to be pinky somewhere around the ring. And we use the rings on the bar. The rings are standard across most bars. Some bars have two, like in this case. So one is a standard ring, one's the Olympic ring. So you want to use the inside ring as a guide, and you're always using that as a benchmark of where you're putting your hands on the bar. That never changes. So once you find a comfortable position, you always have a point to go back to. Piece number two that I typically see go wrong is the elbows have a tendency to flare up towards the ears in many people, or we exaggerate, bring them into the sides. So both positions are not ideal nor comfortable. So typically when you do one of those two things, you get a lot of tension through the front of the shoulder. So we want to make sure that the elbows or the upper arm kind of looks like an arrow versus a T or an I. So look for the arrow. And then the other piece is we want to make sure to open up the shoulders the entire time and set the shoulders down away from the ears. Now, that's difficult to do when you're lying down on a bench. That seems weird to try to like pull your shoulders down and get into the bar. So how you do that is you actually use the bench to set that position. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to literally pick myself up, push myself a little bit further than where I'm gonna finish on the bench, and then you're going to use the floor to push up the bench, which the bench is gonna grab your shoulders or grab your back, and it's gonna pull your shoulders down, and you just let that happen. That creates a bit of an arch. This is okay, but it also sets the shoulder position down away from the ear. So now we are in a strong position to press from. We use that elbows like an arrow situation to press, and we also should eliminate any sort of shoulder discomfort, or at least the majority of it, if it's a simple problem to fix when we set that position.